The Summer I Turned Pretty engagement announcement dinner. Let's talk about it. It's Ashley Renee, and we're going to talk about the infamous scene from last week's episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty. After Susanna's dedication ceremony, everyone goes out to dinner at this really fancy restaurant. And at the very beginning of the dinner, Laurel says that she's going to pay, which is a really big deal because Laurel is an author, so she's not like super rich or anything. As far as attendees to the dinner, we have Laurel, her son and daughter, so Belly and Steven, Jeremiah, Conrad, and their dad, Adam. So they're all at this table. They have this like nice oceanside view. Laurel says she's going to pay, and Adam makes this joke. Those of you who don't know, Adam is like loaded. He's super rich. His dad is like, oh, well, since you're paying, and he ends up picking the most expensive item on the entire menu, okay? It's like this $75 seafood tower. And as soon as Adam orders that, you see Belly just kind of looking down at her menu, and she like eyes him like she can't believe that he would order the most expensive thing, right? So Belly orders, and she gets the tomato bisque. So she's picking one of the cheaper items on the menu, possibly I think one of the cheapest. Jeremiah goes to order next, and he orders the exact same thing that his dad ordered. And immediately when he did that, it just really pissed me off. Oh, God, it was so irritating when he did it. I just want to talk about it so bad. I have really never been a big Jeremiah fan. I could just tell he was giving immature. He's just like his dad. And so, of course, I wasn't super surprised that he ordered the most expensive thing on the menu. He just seems to have zero situational awareness in all of this. After him and Belly put in their orders, we go to Conrad. And Conrad, of course, being the hero, orders one of the cheaper things on the menu as well. The cheapest entree that he could order, which was the salmon. And as everybody's ordering, when Laurel sees what Adam orders and then what Jeremiah orders, she kind of eyes Belly. Like she's surprised. She doesn't want to say anything about it. So you can kind of see her like give a side eye, probably thinking like, oh my God, this is probably gonna bankrupt me. This is a super expensive dinner. Steven and Laurel order next. They're all sitting at the table talking, and it gets a little tense. And initially going into this, Belly and Jeremiah decided that they were not going to announce their engagement. They were like, Conrad's gonna be there. He really doesn't want his dad to ruin the moment because as we've seen in the past, Adam really tends to favor Conrad because Conrad is the one who has his entire life together. So he thinks, like, we know what's going on in medical school right now for him. But he really holds Conrad on a very high pedestal in comparison to Jeremiah, who tends to be the immature son who isn't really making the best decisions. So the dinner is just super tense, and out of nowhere, Belly announces the engagement, and immediately the table goes silent, and Laurel's just sitting there, and she's just like, is this real? And she actually says, are you joking? Belly is like, no, I'm not joking. There's this moment in the show where she like holds out her hand like this, and she's like, yeah, we're engaged. And she shows off this ring. It just gave me secondhand embarrassment, that part, because the immaturity in it, like you can almost feel that she might know that this is a bad decision, but she is just trying to be Jeremiah's person. She's trying to be his cheerleader and really stand up for their relationship. And just that moment and that still where they took her hand and she's showing them her ring, and that's like not the right hand, but you get what I'm saying. It's just awkward. It made me feel super awkward when I was watching the show. And I think everyone else kind of feels very similar. It was just one of those moments where you were like, she's acting like a child would act. And that kind of fits in with the relationship that her and Jeremiah have. It's not a very mature relationship. The dinner is obviously super tense now. Everybody is shook. We have Conrad at the end of the table, and he's just sitting there probably wondering why the hell he decided to come to this dinner. Because we saw, like, he had this whole struggle throughout the episode. Am I going to go to this dedication? Am I not? And his friend at school was the one who talked him into going. She was like, you're going to have to learn to get over this, because he obviously had expressed to her that he is or was in love with his brother's girlfriend. The fact that he even showed up was a huge step for him because he's been going through counseling like King Conrad, right? And he's doing really good for himself. So he shows up, and this had to be absolutely heartbreaking for him. I immediately was just like, when they announced it and then they showed his face, I just felt so bad. I was like, oh my God. And you can tell, like the cogs are turning. He's not really sure how to process this. And then Steven kind of like breaks him out of that. And Steven's like, did you know about this? And he's just like, no. Like, I didn't know, obviously. Adam is also not happy. There was a part where when Belly said that they were engaged and her mom is like, do you even have a ring? And she says yes. Adam is like, where did you even get a ring? What, with my money? And Jeremiah's like, no, with my money. And then, she shows the ring. Like, just there are so many just shots being fired, from Laurel to Belly and from Adam to Jeremiah. It's not good. It's definitely not how you want your engagement announcement to go. So eventually they all just decide to leave. Laurel tells the waiter, cancel everything. This dinner's done. We're not going to be ordering anything else. After that, the dinner basically just ends with Jeremiah and Belly walking out, and they're standing outside the restaurant and they're talking. And again, you're just seeing the immaturity here. Like, they're standing there, they're like, oh my gosh, thank God we got that over with. And it's so annoying. I cannot stand Jeremiah. And honestly, like, Belly's seriously starting to piss me off too. She's just, I don't like the mixture of her and Jeremiah together. It doesn't work. It's toxic. So they're standing there talking, and everyone else starts piling out of the restaurant, and Laurel is like, okay, Belly, let's go. You're coming with us. You have Laurel trying to help her daughter realize that this is a stupid decision. And then you have Belly wanting to be an adult. And it kind of feels like Belly is belittled into being a child in this moment because, and I think that we've probably all been there before, right? Where our moms have embarrassed us, or our dads or guardians have embarrassed us in front of someone that we're super close to, where, you have this like feeling of empowerment where you're your own person and you're independent. And then someone comes in and reality hits, and it's like, okay, actually, no, I'm really not quite an adult yet. Ellie's mom forces her to go with them and leave, and Jeremiah leaves by himself. At the very end of this episode, we finally see Conrad coming out of the restaurant, and you just have to feel bad for him. He just goes and he's standing behind his car, just kind of like looking around. The moment that happened, I said out loud, oh, this is like the Taylor Swift, like, help, I'm still at the restaurant, right? I don't want to sing it because you just never know with copyright, but it was really giving that. And I'm so happy. Like, as I've been seeing so many other people post that moment, attaching Taylor Swift's song to it, like, we were all thinking the same thing. Like, this poor guy, like, he's stuck at this restaurant. He just came in from out of town, and he was thinking that this was going to be like a fresh start for him, where maybe he could start being around cousins again and finally get over Belly. But instead, he is just completely devastated. And yeah, oh my gosh. I will say, I really felt like they worked up this episode this past week, like before they aired it. I was super excited. I was thinking this was going to be a much longer event, but to make us wait till the very end of the episode, and it was such a small amount of time. Like, obviously, it was quite the blow up, but it really wasn't giving what I wanted it to. For anyone who's read the books, it's like really in depth. So I was kind of disappointed in that. Somebody apparently said that the show isn't going to end the same way that the books end. So for me, I'm immediately like, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but those of us who have read the books, or at least know how the books end, there's a specific ending to this that we're all looking for, right? Like, we know who she's supposed to end up with. Are they going to have her end up with that person or end up with someone else? Because if they force her to end up with someone else, or I'm not going to choose either of them, I choose myself, please, no. Please don't do that. If that happens, I'm going to be so mad. I was super disappointed with the Game of Thrones ending. You guys can't do this to me. Like, no, not one of my favorite romance books. I'm hoping that maybe they're just going to change a little something. Like, maybe they'll change what happens between Taylor and Steven a little bit, but everything will end the way it's supposed to. They'll just be like little things that are different. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the next couple of weeks bring us as far as episodes go. But I'm really hoping that next week makes up for how rushed this episode was, because again, making us wait until the end of the episode for that dinner and for it to be so short, I was disappointed. But anyway, what do you guys think? What did you think about the episode? What did you think about the dinner? And also, I'm still seeing some people who are standing Jeremiah and Belly. So for those of you who are, why do you still choose Jeremiah? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.